That, to me, if he's the guy he's supposed to be, his number one pick, supposed to take a huge leap in year 2, I put a massive amount of it on coaching on the offense. Now Caleb's got to perform, and Ben's got to perform as well. Like, I'm not going to move the goalpost. That's to me what fair is.
Fair, rationally, would be that he makes consistent, steady progress.
There we go.
And he's a significantly better player than he is from this past year. But to Nick's point, you have the number 1 overall draft pick, so there's ridiculous expectations there. And he has all the ability, and he flashed that ability. And now you've brought in a head coach, which, if his compensation is right, is being compensated like an elite head coach in the NFL. So you've got that expectation, and you're putting them together saying that was the missing link. So I don't think it's unfair for them to either be competing to win the division, and they should at least be competing to be in the playoffs at a minimum, because this team also isn't without talent in other positions as well. So you've got that element too. And when you look at Minnesota won 14 games with a guy that a lot of people considered couldn't play quarterback. Yep. And now you've got this combination platter, and the old adage, to whom much is given, much is expected.
No, it's precisely. Like, as much as an overreach as it was to say they're going to get to the Super Bowl, you did it for a reason, because they got talent elsewhere. Yes. They obviously have to get the offensive line better, but the receivers, the running back, the defense, it's all there. And you look at the 4 top quarterbacks in the league, Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, Allen, all made the playoffs in their second year, if not their first as a starter.
2 of them made the Super Bowl.
Right.
Mahomes
Burrow and Mahomes.
Yeah.
And then if you want to throw Jaden and C.J. Stroud in there, they made it as rookies and from teams that were like CJ's team had won 3 games. Bo made, it's not not even close to too much. It's expected, I guess, if you're an elite level quarterback, that you should be able to make the playoffs in your second year if you've got the talent around you. So yeah, he's got to make the playoffs.
I just don't know if this feels like a new era, except in 2017, Trubisky had Fox fired. Nagy comes in second year. They go 12-4. Nagy's hanging out. He's like, oh, I'm doing good. Nope. I get Justin Fields, first year Justin Fields, doesn't go well. He's fired. Eberflus comes in. Eberflus hangs around until it's Caleb's first year. Caleb didn't go well. You get fired. So it's this. It's this institutional. Let's give the rookie quarterback the coach we had last year, and when he doesn't do well, let's fire him. They've done it 3 times. No, it worked for Trubisky. We saw flashes with Justin Fields, but it just feels.
Listen, you would have loved Danny's radio show last year in Chicago, because he was hammering that. Even if you think Eberflus is a good coach, you probably need to move off it to avoid exactly what you're saying. This staggered, you know what I mean? Where all
Trubisky,
of a sudden,
they're in first place.
1 year,
Nagy was coach of the year.
Okay, let's talk about this. It ends and transitions into the mountain. So, okay, listen. There's a few things that I really want to bring up here. And Travis O'Shea pointed something out as I was just reading the comments on my previous Caleb and Ben Johnson video, because I keep talking about the development of Caleb and how Caleb needs to be developed from just a pure talent perspective as well, not just X's and O's and schemes and game plans and all that type of stuff. And so much of this will also depend on who Ben Johnson hires as his quarterback coach. And I wonder, I don't know how sticky the Chicago Bears organization are. Are they going to try to insert themselves and try to do what they want to do in that, or does Ben Johnson have free range with all of that? But in terms of like them talking about, oh, C.J. Stroud made the playoffs and this guy made the playoffs and this quarterback, we got to be easy on that. I do think that they need to compete for the division and compete for the playoffs. But you can't just automatically just say, well, C.J. Stroud made the playoffs, and it was like, yeah, well, he was going up against the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars and Gardner Minshew Colts. Like, okay. And Patrick Mahomes, and it was like, okay, the Raiders, who are a disaster, the Broncos, a disaster, and the Chargers, disaster. So it's like you can't just constantly copy and paste, say, well, look what this quarterback did in his second year. It's like everything has to be put in context, because this division should still be tough. The Lions will still be tough. They're still a great team. Yeah, they're definitely going to get hurt with losing their coordinators, no doubt about it. But let's not pretend like they don't have a squad. The Packers should be better. Again, depending on what you believe about Jordan Love, but that team should be better as long as they also stay healthy. And the Minnesota Vikings are a question mark because who's going to be their quarterback and how great can J.J. McCarthy be from the jump if he's the starter? But again, should still be a very competent team. There should still not be any easy wins within this division. And now you have other teams that are coming now. Like the Washington Commanders, the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's now more in the context of one, who are you going to play in the regular season, as well as now just like wild card, rankings if you don't win the division. So like let's not act like this is just going to be an easy walk in the park here. The Houston Texans were able to win the division this year, and they had more bad games than good games. I'll just say it. They had more bad games than good games, just straight up. That's the reality. So it's just, I don't think we can just lump the success. And that's why I agree with Mangini, where it's just like, we just want to see this team and Caleb especially get better. Because also now Caleb still has to learn how to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. He still has to learn that. I don't think he really got any solid lessons this past season. So it's really kind of like, for me, this is like, year one and not year two for Caleb. That's number one. Because again, they talk about what Patrick Mahomes was able to do, and it's like Patrick Mahomes sat the whole first year. So now you have also Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson needs to learn how to be a head coach. He's never been a head coach. So that also matters now. So Ben Johnson needs to learn how to be a head coach. Caleb needs to learn how to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. They're not going to be taking this journey together. There's going to be massive, massive expectations on them. They're in a tough division with a lot of close teams in just the NFC conference as a whole. Because again, now you're going to have the Eagles and Commanders going back and forth. If one of those teams is not going to win the division, obviously, they're going to most likely take up a wild card spot. Again, you still have the Packers and the Vikings. Like, it's still going to be tough. The Falcons should be significantly better. The Bucks clearly still show to be pretty feisty. Like, so there's only so many teams. So that's why I'm just not going to look at it through this all or nothing black and white lens of like, they have to do this. They have to have that. They have to win the division. They have to be in the playoffs. This is what so-and-so did. If he's an all-time special talent, then that's what they should do. And it's like, it's not that easy. Also, let's see what the offseason looks like. Do they fix this O-line? Like, there's a lot of question marks. And I think, to be very clear, I do think Caleb Williams will thrive and get significantly better and get, better and better and better and better and better. I do think Caleb Williams will prove to be a great and special talent in the NFL. But I'm just not going to demand that I see certain things as evidence of that. Otherwise, nope. Like, he either makes it to the Super Bowl next year or he's clearly not a generational talent. It's like, let's relax on that. Let's relax on that. The Commanders have a head start. The Eagles have a head start. The Detroit Lions have a head start, but they're probably going to take a step back. Technically, the Packers have a head start. Technically, the Vikings have a head start. Again, like, all these other teams technically have head starts. So much of it is going to depend on a lot of offseason moves as well. Other acquisitions, the draft, the other coaching hires. Their defense did fall off a cliff as soon as Eberflus left. So there's just, there's just still plenty of questions that need to be answered before we just lump massive expectations. So that's just kind of what I want to make sure I emphasize. But again, I also want to emphasize that I do think that Caleb will and does need to. Like, you will be running out of excuses. So I think he will, and I think it's appropriate for him to have those expectations to improve and get significantly better and make you feel like, hey, this team is legit. Yeah, they might get squeezed out of the division because it's so competitive, but like, you got to say one of those things where they're like, if this was any other division, they'd win it, like at a minimum kind of thing, at a minimum. So we'll see though. We'll see. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the expectations for Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson? What do you think success will look like for them in year one? And what do you think it should look like? What do you think the expectations, or the appropriate expectations, I should say, are? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.